Yeah, ring that. Ring it good.
Ring, 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 hello, Sims and virgins. And
Off to a good start. Be respectful.
welcome.
No, respectfulness.
And welcome back to Krown's Dirt Cave.
God damn it! What the hell was that? Well. Welcome back to the Krown's Crypto Cave. No, it's the Air Krown Crypto channel. What the fuck is this place anymore? I don't know. Doesn't matter because we got a few things to be talking about today. Obviously, with the new weekly open for both CME and of course spot price action as well, which is really going to set in the overall biases for this next, I suppose, period to come. I need to turn off the alerts for right now, and we're going to turn them back on a little bit later. But all good in the hood, and I think we have a few announcements before we get into it. First and foremost, don't buy anything right now. We're gonna have a sale in a few days. Please just save yourself a few bucks and it'll be all good. It just requires a little bit of patience. On top of that, what else do I want to say? Yes, Instagram. It's really embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing, but there's been a ton of people on both Instagram and actually Twitter that have been essentially impersonating, I guess, me, trying to get people to give them basically money or download some bullshit. Whatever it is, it's not me. I would caution against doing anything that they are advising you to. It is very likely a scam, and probably you don't want anything to do with it. If you are unsure of what Instagram account is me, because now there's like a shit ton of them apparently, and I've reported pretty much all of them now, but Instagram doesn't happen to give a fuck apparently. The best way to do it is to go into the description of this video, and there is a direct link to my personal account, and I can assure you that anything that is not from my personal account is not me. Please, I really fear for all of the people who are messaging me asking if like, hey man, is this you or not? No, it's not fucking me. It's not me. Please do not go into whatever the hell they're trying to get you to do. It's unlikely to end well. And what's up to our lovely moderator? Say Nikki Page there, African crypto warlord there. Yes. You almost what? Oh, you almost fell for it too? Hi, have you heard of the cryptocurrencies market? It's like, it really sounds super sketch. Like, I really fear for the people who do get caught in this, but still, I feel like I need to, actually say something. There he is, Mr. Nimbo and Alex Switch. Good morning, fam. Good morning to everyone out there. Good morning to all the island boys who are joining in right now, who are up way too late. And Rocky G, I see you as well, my friend. I see you as well. See Grizzly Adams, Willist, Mr. Luca Renz, Dad Arrakis. Man, it's going to be a nice little day today. It's funny, too, because, I mean, basically Bitcoin's been doing fuck all for the past couple weeks here, but still people are still very much interested within this market. So I guess you came to the right place, because we are fucking TA nerds here. And hey man, if Bitcoin gets boring, we'll just go to Forex, and if Forex get boring, we'll go to traditional, and if traditional gets boring, I'm sure that there's going to be the new thing to be looking at. Anyways, with that in mind, we got 1,000 people watching, 357 likes on the video. We are trending towards the ultimate at the beginning of this, which is just insane. I want to say a massive thank you for that, and wish you an early happy holiday season. I think there's like multiple holidays going on. We got Hanukkah, we got Kwanzaa, and we got Christmas. Happy whatever the fuck you're celebrating. I'm wishing the best for you on this nice start to this week. And with that in mind, I think it's time to get into the Krown Chain application, which of course can be found at app.krown.net, and it's also for free. It's for the price of literally $0.0. And we do see that the Bitcoin dominance actually still hanging around that 40% region. Again, I don't really care too much more for this metric, just because it's very easily manipulated. I mean, it's so easy to create a new shitcoin and boost its market cap up with very little. And well, does that necessarily mean that Bitcoin is losing its dominance, even if Bitcoin is quite literally staying the same on its market cap for what it's worth? Not really. So I'm really starting to lose faith in that metric, but we actually have something better now. We have something better coming up, in the sense that we can now break this market down into indices. I believe that FTX has a bunch of different, a bunch of different sectors now. They have their alt perp, they have their shit perp, they have their mid perp, and that is going to really help out. And also DeFi perp as well. So, as the market matures, we're going to get more and more direct ways to be looking at this, which I think are going to matter a lot more. And for right now, we're just kind of waiting for that, I suppose. Anyways, Fear and Green Index popped up a little bit from yesterday to today at a 29 read right now. Still within the fearful zone, but not extremely fearful, if you will. But overall, that's not what we want. What we really want to be focused on. We want to be focusing on the chart that goes alongside of it, which is in the third data tab on the app over here. And you can see that we've been within the fearful zone for going on a little bit more than 3 weeks now. So this is significant. And typically speaking, anytime that Bitcoin's been within the fearful zone for this long, we're looking around the lows essentially. So to me, I still have more or less the same sort of analysis to be given on this, whether the Bitcoin puts in a major low where we're at right now, or whether it trades trades a little bit further south towards 43,000, give or take a few bucks from that region. I don't have a major opinion on. My major opinion is on looking for big bounces from those regions and essentially position yourself with risk management accordingly. I mean, that's all that has to be. Bitcoin's based off the same area that it's been in for like the last 3 weeks now. It's like, how many times can you test down into the support without breaking? Well, you always hold your breath, but fair enough. Anyways, into the first data tab we go. We do want to be looking at the global funding rate. Again, it is below parity, so that is a little bit more on the BULA side. And on top of that, what's also really sticking out like a sore thumb over here is the global leverage ratio. You can see that it's nearly back around all-time highs yet again. And you will, and what's very interesting about this is that the open interest barely even moved here. I mean, yes, it's gone up a little bit, almost $250 million over the last few days here, but $250 million on this barely registers, whereas on the leverage ratio, it's going to the moon and beyond. So what can essentially create that dynamic? Well, it's the fact that Bitcoins are being taken off exchanges at a massive rate here. As you can see, we're pretty much at all-time lows as far as I'm concerned, and we see consistent outflows over here for the last month and a half now. So this is of course of interest, but it does mean that this market is getting less and less liquid, which is going to create a very nasty dynamic, because that means that Bitcoin is going to be able to absolutely fucking shatter one way or the other. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin trade down to like 43 and close above 50,000 bucks this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all, to be quite honest with you. We have that sort of a dynamic going on right now, and that would absolutely just wreck the right people, I think, right now too. So keep that in mind. This is getting a little bit more concerning, obviously, and historically speaking, anytime that we've been above about 0.175, you have seen, or we have seen, the last major highs in April, May, before Bitcoin went from 60,000 to 30,000. Also similar reads to what we saw on the bear trap in July, before going from 30,000 to 53,000 without any real pullbacks. And then of course that $10,000, $13,000 washout within a day in early September, leading into the $40,000 lows right here. And then more recently, our all-time highs at, of course, $69,000, a great and very highly esteemed number right there, but all of them kind of coming within the same region. So this is offering up a another sort of warning signal that, hey, we're going to very likely see another wash, and it's probably going to be this week. It's probably actually going to be this week, if I had to guess. So with that in mind, I think it's time to go into the price action charts right now. Should I do my old Bybit shill right there? Yeah, I have a Bybit link in the description below. I see that some people are harvesting the deposit bonuses there. Hey, fair enough, man. I guess it's not illegal or anything like that. Take some back for yourself. And of course, I always have to say my piece about that. Look, trading is fucking difficult. Most people lose in trading. I think the statistic is like 78% of people are never net profitable over, basically their trading career. So please understand that if you're not already profitable, it's probably not very wise to be leverage trading. But if you already are, then yeah, you get a deposit bonus, you get a little bit of reduced fees and all that good stuff. So fair enough. Anyways, cool. Let's get into it right now. Start off with CME, of course. As always, I like to start off with CME, especially on Monday and Tuesday. And I mean, realistically, there's really no reason not to ever not be looking at CME, but we have a very obvious chart going on right here. And I just want to make this as simplistic as fucking possible. As long as Bitcoin's below the 49,300 high right here, there's nothing super excited to be getting about about this asset at the current moment in time. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't get back above there, but ultimately, as long as Bitcoin's below there, we are within the context of a downtrend. Actually, you know what? I'm going to record this so I can upload it a little bit later. Let me take a sip of this water first. Apologies about that. Getting all over the place today. My apologies right there. Whoops. I also realized I did not update my comments over here. So let's make sure that we're all on the same schedule right there. Beautiful. I love that. Oh man, we got a lot of moderators in here today. And this is going to be probably a rather slow week, to be quite honest with you. Anyways, let me just sip on this. Hey, much love to you as well, Mr. Itzy or Mrs. Itzy. I don't know, but you have a cute dog, it looks like. Or is that a dog? I can't see. The emoticon's like a little bit too small right there. All right. Here we have Bitcoin on the shorter term time frames, just a bit of a preparation for today as CME has opened up for the trading week. And of course, what is the general narrative of this asset? As long as we are below the red X, that last lower high right there, which is also in line with the green 55X moving average as well at 49,300 or so, it's hard to be looking for any sort of, major massive moves to the upside. Obviously, that is essentially range bound and within a lower high fashion. So that would also imply above 39,300. We would resolve this as a falling channel right here, which falling channels do have a higher probability breakout to the upside than the downside. And there is a measure move to be applied to that upon breakout, which we pointed up somewhere around about 53 to 54,000 bucks, which will obviously have an avalanche of effects going onwards and forwards from there. Of course, until it actually breaks above, though, there is no trade to be made right there. It's quite literally the same shit that we've been looking at for 3 weeks going on right now. So with that in mind, as I mean, as long as Bitcoin's below there, have to kind of be looking for continuation of trend. But there are several things that do suggest, hey, we should be on the lookout for any sort of a move back around there, because if we look at our lower term time frame momentum oscillators, we are building up bullish divergences on the 4-hour, I think all the way up to a 6-hour, certainly. Yes, 12-hour, I believe is in there as well, although we did just confirm another hidden drive of bearish divergence right there. So short term is down, which I think we already kind of played that one out from last week. And then of course, I think the daily might have a potential to do it as well here. Yes, it will, but that would all be very much pivotal on basically based on the fact that Bitcoin could put in a local low right here, which again will not be had on any time frame that matters for general direction here on the medium or higher term time frames, as long as we're below again that 49,300 region. So everything kind of hinges upon there. Now, technically speaking, if you're just trading ranges in this case, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 working on number 5 or the 5th test down to the support over here. Usually around test number 3, 4, and especially 5, I get a lot more not interested in playing that position, to be quite honest with you. But hey, the range traders have been in full control for this last few weeks here and been massively profitable. So I guess it works until it doesn't work, of course, but this is all personal preferences. Some people are going to be more range traders, some people are going to be more trend traders, some people are going to be more breakout traders, or wrecked traders is what I like to call them. Breakout trading, probably, at least in my opinion, the least usable. But hey, it can be done. I know few people actually do breakout trade for a living. Anyways, go over here. I'm going to follow up on the signal yet again as well on the daily stochastic for CME. Again, specifically for CME, we do see that the daily will actually remain with upside posturing with any sort of a closure today above 46,400-ish region, which right now Bitcoin on CME is currently above by a hair, by ball sack hair, basically $40 right there. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And of course, within the next 15 hours, 48 minutes, and 15 seconds, a million goddamn things can happen. But hey, if that condition is verified upon daily closure, well, that would be the next sort of piece of the puzzle that we've been essentially watching for, going on, about 3 weeks now. Again, I've been comparing this signal over here, this sort of fractal of a signal, very similar to what we saw in March of 2020, and then of course in December of 2018 on the macro cycle low. So we're talking about this one right here. We're talking about the flu dump over here. And again, these were very similar to each other because they were all within the same sort of tentacle formation. In this case, we had a massive ascending triangle. In this case, we had a massive ascending triangle. In this case, we have an almost 8-month long ascending triangle being built right now, which would hinge upon the fact that Bitcoin can essentially just hold above its last weekly higher low, which is the relevancy of that $40,000 region right here. So of course, if Bitcoin does fulfill that condition by end of day, that would just be another sort of breadcrumb along the way of fulfilling that as a signature. Right on over here. Again, I didn't even really go over the signature, but I basically am talking about this, where you bounce off the first horizontal green bar, it rejects right around the critical zone, comes back down, bases twice, bases thrice, and then the Bulldogs are hoping that does cross officially to the upside and lead it back above the critical zone specifically as well. If you get something like that, very similar to what we saw back on, of course, in the flu dump of March 2020, a bounce first is rejects, bounce second is accepted, and off to the races for basically forever since then. And of course, same thing over here. A lot more similar, of course, on the last macro cycle low coming in from December 2018, as you can see. So these things do take time. Obviously, it's going to require a lot of patience. And overall, Bitcoin is, it's been, it's obviously been cooling up for a while now. So we probably are looking for resolution this week, if I had to guess. But then again, I look at daily BBWP, and we're actually contracting right now on CME. So maybe I'll go over to spot price action. Spot price action is pretty damn low. Which one do I default to within the context of this? Well, actually, volatility should be pretty damn good on spot price action and CME. But on spot price action, all of the last few iterations of getting down into the single-digit territory has been met with some pretty impressive price action. We're talking about the last time we got this low was, of course, precipitating this dumpola party from $59,000, basically to where we're at right now. Actually, the time before that, where we got this low, was essentially on Bitcoin's all-time high at $69,000 before that next sort of $10,000 move to the downside before the next sort of consolidation for a little bit of time. Of course, the time before that was precipitating this massive move down from 48.5 all the way down to $40,000 base. Same thing before here on that move from 53,000 all the way down to 43,000 on a $10,000 move, basically within the same day. Time before that was, of course, our last macro low at $30,000 before the ultimate bear trap in July, before going from 30 all the way to 53. Of course, when we're talking about volatility, it's direction neutral. And for what it's worth right now, if Bitcoin were to really pop back above the critical regions that we spoke about on CME for momentum, that would look pretty damn good. And I imagine that's also going to force daily MACD back to the upside as well. In fact, right now we're just getting our first ever so slight ticks to the upside right now on the daily MACD. It'll remain with upside curvature as long as we are above 45,730, which right now Bitcoin's actually below, in fact. So, it's not a given right here, although it really wouldn't take too much. But you can really see that so much hinges upon, again, that 49,300-ish region, just because it's so fucking obvious right there. And if you do want to be a little more aggressive, on a potential reversal to the upside in the interim, I do think that it would be okay in this case. This chart over here has been working incredibly well for us for the last week or so, or actually 2 weeks or so. You can see, where did yesterday's nice quick spike to the upside come around? Came around exactly where we have our declining highs come in. So whilst CME does not have the same sort of price action going on right here, if you do want to be a little more aggressive, I think that there is a bit of an edge on a trade right there at about 48,300-ish region, specifically on a 4-hour closure, and we can just move that down. Again, understand that that is not consistent with CME, so you kind of want to hold your breath still for 49.3, but ultimately, if that level is taken out, I'd look for a quick continuation move somewhere around the highs of this current consolidation, that being about 52,000 bucks. Very likely a short-term pullback from there, and then continuation towards the mid and upper, I wouldn't say upper just yet, but mid $50,000 territory. Of course, as long as Bitcoin's dancing around the bottom side of this, whilst remaining in a lower high fashion, it is bearish. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. If the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and right now the trend has not ended just yet. Do we potentially have a higher low being built in right here? It's possible. It's a little bit of hopium, but you cannot in any way, shape, or form confirm that as long as we are below, again, at goddamn fucking minimum, the 48,300-ish region right there. And for what it's worth, lower term timeframes on spot price action are showing more bearish signals here. We got 4-hour RSI giving us another drive of hidden bearish divergence. I think that we spoke about this one actually yesterday, but this is just a continuation of that signal, to be fair. So that signal is still actually active. If we go over to a 6-hour, I think that we also have it as well. Yes, indeed we do. 12-hour is kind of there, kind of not there. I mean, it's not really there, but it is on CME. And then daily, not really much to make out of that for what it's worth right now. Anyways, with all of that in mind, we very likely do actually pick direction on this one this week, and I imagine it's probably also going to be a bit event driven as well, as we got the new sort of hullabaloo to be aware of with like Joe Manchin and the Build Back Better and all that stuff, which at the end of the day, Bitcoin and most markets get brought back down to major supports during something like this. And then if the result is going to be good, well, it's probably going to bounce off it. And if the result's going to be bad, it's probably going to break, coming into US market open a little bit later today, which makes me want to check out, of course, NASDAQ and SPY. Perhaps NASDAQ first. This one's going to be a little bit more akin to Bitcoin. And what do you know? This one is not looking good. At least for right now. It probably does bounce off the retest of your December 3rd and December 6th lows yet again. I mean, that is quite common to see. If we go down to a very low term time frame, do we see anything suggesting a bit of a bounce behavior coming in? Got a little bit of divergences building up right there, but not much, at least just yet. And 4-hour looks pretty ugly to me as well. But hey, probably going to give it one more bounce. And then if this one does want to break down, we probably see it around market open a little bit later today. In fact, the one that I really want to be keeping an eye on is triple Qs over here. This one does look like it's poised to make one more move to the downside. Is it going to be interpreted well by Bitcoin? Probably not, no. And I imagine SPY is probably a little bit stronger than the rest, to be fair, but still, this does look like it's initiating into breakdown posturing over time. I'm just not necessarily convinced that it's going to break down exactly from here. You're usually going to get a bounce off of that last sort of low, just as like a pity bounce, regardless whether you're bullish or bearish. And then, hey, if it is bullish, you probably see a bit of a reversal coming into Tuesday or something like that. And if it's bearish, well, probably going to see a bounce back up towards like 45.90 to 4600, and then next minute all the way fucking down. So with all of that said, again, on a Bitcoin breakdown, I'm still looking towards the same sort of targets, anywhere around the 55 on the weekly over here at 43,000 to 44,000 bucks. Remember, we did not see that same move on CME, we did not see that same move happen on CME, which already happened on spot, and it is a statistical likelihood that Bitcoin does come back down and fulfill those wick lows that you do see over time. I mean, for example, we did see the last major, or not the last major one, but a good example over here would be the May dump from 60,000 down to 30,000 bucks. It did retest it actually twice after that, almost to the T right there. Did not have any closures below, so the range was not broken. And again, that's kind of the same thing that's going on right here as well. I would essentially be comfortable in stating that, hey, as long as Bitcoin's not closing weekly dollars below that last weekly low, or just if you want to say 41,000 bucks, basically the same thing anyways, I still look at this as a macro uptrend, and that is completely fine. We are already making massively new lows on weekly RSI, so there will be natural hidden bullish divergence on anything resembling a local low here. But do we have that just yet? No, we do not. This is not in any way, shape, or form a local low on the weekly, nor is it on a 2-day, nor is it on a 5-day, obviously, as well. So this is going to take a little bit of time, and barring any sort of move at minimum above 48,300 and preferably for CME above 49,300, I would not be calling any sort of short-term reversals here, and Bitcoin more likely breaks to the downside with its current setup. I mean, that just looks kind of ugly. So we can go briefly through our lower term time frame momentum oscillators. We haven't really done that, so I'm just going to run through that really quickly here. We're going to do it on CME yet again, so let's go down to the hourly first, actually, and then we'll wrap up this video. But basically, hourly is freshly crossing down with any sort of a closure or maintaining a closing basis below 46,900, which we're currently trading about $500 below at this moment, or actually $400 below. Buy hourly is going to be showing what? It's going to show a fresh cross down with any sort of a closure below 46,250. Again, coming in 39 minutes, so we'll actually be able to watch that one firsthand if it does indeed happen. Full hour is going to have a chance to cross up though if we do close above 46,100, so that would be a little bit of a good counterpoint for that. You can also notice a trend line coming in there from our 6th of December low and our 10th of December low. Now these were just failed bounces along this right here, to be fair, but would be in there for what it's worth. And then I think the 6-hour and 12-hour are both down. And yes, the 6-hour is down as long as below 47,870, and 12-hour is freshly down as long as below 47,950. So again, if I'm kind of giving my personal thoughts on this, I think it would be absolutely classic for Bitcoin to do something like this, where it breaks down, or maybe not that far. That's a little bit too far right there. It breaks down somewhere around 43 to 44,000 bucks, bounces back up, takes out this high right here. That's where that starts to be a major, massive trap. It's going to happen really fucking fast if it does happen. And well, it offers up a nice and obvious edge as well. I mean, Bitcoin, as long as it just does not come back down below that last weekly higher low at 40,000 bucks, long term, I still have to be bullish on this asset. Just short term, it's still a downtrend. So let the trend be your friend for right now, or do as you please. Obviously, this is not essentially financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just, my opinions on the market for better or worse. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin. Sirs and Zers. All right, sweet. I need to take another sip of this water, man. It is like massively cold again outside, and I had an issue before I started this stream as well. Anyways, I'm gonna take a sippy sip of this, and then we will put on the alerts, and then we'll get into the comments in just a second here. What's up, Playhouse Center? I see you over there. What's up, Kelly Sue? I see you over there as well. Anyone with exposure should start flushing. Oh, okay. We got some doctors in the house. This is good. I actually watched that interview. It was very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, sweet. Let me turn them on over here. All right, good. And whoops, I need to turn off my damn drawing tools. Let me get rid of these damn LARP lines over here as well. Those damn LARP lines are at it again, but funnily enough, they're actually working. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the sound of the alerts right there, and we are going to go back over here, and let me just see which ones are first. And let's see. Okay, we got Mr. Riccio first. He says, first, thank you for easing up on the clickbait titles. Sir, the titles are what the titles are, man. I do not get people getting angry at a goddamn title or thumbnail on YouTube. Look, the information is the same, man, and it's free. So to honestly set a bit of a barrier, it's like, look, I understand that it can be annoying. I understand that some people, like, for whatever reason, have a really big bone to pick with it, but the content's the fucking same as it always has been, at least in my opinion. So yeah, man. Stop using your faces. Like imagine that. Like, someone has the fucking audacity to ask that, and it's like, here's your free content, man, that I poured my heart and soul into, and then it's like, fuck you, man, your face is on the thumbnail. I fucking hate this shit. I'm disliking and unsubscribing. It's like, okay, thanks for that, Riccio. Appreciate that, man. Cool. All right. Third, can we do a Luna USD? Okay, so a million fucking questions there. All right, let's just do Luna. Sorry, man. I have to use you an example today, though. Have to set a bit of boundaries there, man. It's been frustrating. It's been very frustrating recently. Cool. All right, so here we have Luna. No time frames were given on this one. Thank you, Ricky, for that. Anyways, we'll just do a general overview on this one. So we took out the critical $73-ish region that we spoke about coming in from last week. That is good, and that does initiate moves towards your prior all-time highs, which we're pretty much getting right here. And I'd essentially be looking for probably new all-time highs this week. This does look quite good right here. I imagine that we do also have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly RSI. We do, which is great. And on top of that, that just offers up an obvious area to be managing something like this on, which is just going to be below last week's wick low. As long as it's above there, it is it's not macro bullish, it's macro trending to the upside. And that would also be, I don't know, could we front run that with a $62 move right there for an invalidation on short-term bullishness? Yeah, I suppose so. As short-term, it very likely does trade back down a little bit. I mean, gumming back down to 71.5 or $72 is completely fair game. Ultimately, though, this one is trending right now and looking quite good. So let's go over here and see if Daily Stokes actually agree with me. That would be the next sort of good signal to be looking for. And yes, they do. They do say that we're upside momentum as long as above 62.5. So you know what? I would not be waiting for last week's wick low in order to call this one a failure. I'll just be waiting for 62.5 on a daily closing basis. As long as it's above there, or essentially 64.5, anywhere around there is completely fine. This one is essentially in trending motion. We see that volatility is expanding right here. So let's just talk about the next sort of upside targets, I guess, for this one, which I do have out over here. That is going to be around about 86 to 86.5 bucks. I would be looking for a bit of a pullback after that. And then long-term upon validation above there, so let's say a daily closure above about 86.5, I would be looking for this one to hit the century mark, somewhere above triple digits, about 105 to 110-ish region, and then come back to it after that. Until then, short-term time frames, I imagine there's going to be an ebb and a flow, but as long as daily is above 62.5 bucks, I look at this one as macro trend in motion. I imagine that the monthly is showing strength into this monthly close here. Now, of course, we still got, another, 10 days, 11 days, so that's fine. But ultimately, pretty damn good right there. Hard to be bearish on a chart that looks like that for the long term. All higher term timeframes looking for continuation here. I think the 5-day is closing tomorrow, and the 5-day RSI just got into the bullish control zone as well. So I'm looking at all of this pretty damn good, and very likely to be getting new all-time highs coming into the end of this year, actually. So a bit of a Santa rally for Luna here. Again, assuming it remains above invalidation, but even the 5-day RSI, 5-day volatility is also ticking up here as well. So this is all good in the hood. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Luna. You're welcome, sir. Sorry, man. Had to. I couldn't help myself right there. It's very bad of me to do. I shouldn't give into that bullshit. Anyways, I think we got Mr. Kyle McDonald's next. He says, Deuteronomy, hello, sir. Your Canadian brethren here. Man, the only place that's colder than this place, I imagine. Could you take a peek at 1 USD? Pour moi. I know what that means. That means for me. I took 3 years of French in high school, so that's about... I can understand that. So I'm quite proud of that, actually. There you go, man. Sweet. All right, let's pull this one up over here. Looking at a 4-hour and daily talk. Hey, that's Swedish, man. But that's fine. All Finnish people secretly wish that they were Swedish. It's just true. Anyways, not bad right here, man. One is actually showing some hidden bullish divergence on this current local low. Just want to see this one actually officially close above about 22.5 to 23 cents or so. That would really look good for another retest of your last closing high, somewhere around about 31. Somewhere around about 31 cents. Oh, it's not Swedish? No, it is Swedish. Oh, talk with C is Swedish. Okay, well, whatever. Oh, sorry, and this isn't daily. This is 5-day. Apologies on that. So this is even better than what I was first considering. Now, the daily right here is still ranging, however. So I don't think that this one's actually going to be ready to do it today. To be quite honest with you, if we're just looking at this one for the daily specifically, I do think that this one actually does trade down a little bit from where you're currently at and try for another higher low somewhere above 18 cents or so. And this one does remain with long-term good caution as long as you're essentially closing dailies above there. And that will obviously bleed in and lead into the 5-day, which is not closing tonight, but closing tomorrow night, which can set it up obviously for a move back around its prior highs at 31 cents in the next 5 days upon validation of that condition, basically is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, 4-hour looking for a pullback right here. If you're on the lower term time frames, probably does pull back somewhere around 20 cents, which is not super problematic, but is relevant towards you because you asked about the 4-hour right there. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Short-term pullback, daily and above are more or less consolidating, but setting up for a good consolidation. I imagine it just takes some time. I imagine it just takes some time right here. Just looking at vol on all of our higher term timeframes, and they do suggest a little bit more sideways. Weekly at a decent closure there as well. So a little bit of a range, and then resolution maybe coming into end of year, I imagine. Anyways, moving on, we have Mr. Jake Anderson next. He says Ethereum Bitcoin 1 and 4 hour on Binance. It's trend reversing to the downside. If you're just on the 1 and 4 hour, let's see. Where's the hourly? Is the trend reversing to the downside? Well, you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, you have a lower low. It's technically a consolidation, to be quite honest with you, and you're gonna definitely lose the forest within the damn trees over here. But yeah, short term, it very likely does come back down. Extremely likely somewhere around about 80. What is this, like 8,195,000 satoshis? I do think that you're very likely going to test somewhere down around there. Shit probably even comes down a little bit lower than that, towards about 805 million satoshis in this case. But again, long term, I'm still quite bullish on this, as long as it's above about 7.75 million. So yeah, short term corrective, basically playing in a range between where you're at right now and this area right here. And we could actually just move this down for what it's worth. Long term, again, I still quite like this chart, or I like this chart a lot long term, but short term, yeah, it is corrective and probably does come back down. So is it reversing on like the hourly and 4 hour? Yeah, yeah, you'd be correct in that one, man. You'd certainly be correct in that one. So just going over here just to double check. Yeah, more or less the same thing over there. So all good in the hood right there, man. The weekly close, very, very nice. So again, this is why I want to be focusing on the higher term timeframes. This is an amazing closure that we had last week. So again, I have no reason to call this a macro failure, a macro fake out on a breakout, as long as you're above about 7.75 million satoshis, that last breakout point. So short term pulls back, yeah, but ultimately long term, still quite like this chart, sir. All right, nice one, man. I think we have Mr. Stocks here is next. What's up? That was Jake Anderson. Bruh, when Nord USD 4-hour daily moon? Bruh, just kidding. But let's reflect. Okay, cool. Let's pull this one up over here. I remember we looked at this one like a couple times over the past few weeks, and it's been decent, but not right now. No, this one's breaking down, man. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Did I have this one charted before? Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at this one as a range still. All right, so I'm looking at, I guess I charted this one as a major range, and I guess it still does fulfill that criteria, but very likely test the bottom side of this range. The question is, do you get a higher low or not there? Anything above about 311 is going to be a higher low, but right now, all lower and higher term timeframes do show one more test to the downside at minimum. Still can't get too excited about this thing as long as you're below about 620-ish region long term if you're on the daily, and if you're on the 4 hour, where would be the next sort of relevant region to be looking for a bit of a shift in sentiments? That would be just back above about 445 in this case. But for right now, yeah, very likely does test around the bottom side of this consolidation. I'd probably be looking at minimum for another bounce at around 311 and a half, and probably tries for a bit of a higher low anywhere above there, like 3.25 to 330 or so. It's probably fair game. Again, long term, as long as it's kind of awesome within this region right here. It's technically supposed to be considered a bullish consolidation. I think it's gonna be a little more obviously on a weekly. Maybe not. Maybe not as obvious on a weekly. And of course, resolution to the downside is very obvious in this one, below about 311. Now that I recognize it on the daily, we do see that we're actually basing off the 200 simple right now. I think that you might test a little bit lower than there. Just don't want to see any like opens and closures below there. That's going to start to gear this one towards a actual breakdown rather than a healthy consolidation. It's basically the same range as right here, man, but probably does test a little more to the downside, to be fair. Maybe we just check it out from one more angle just to see if we have anything turning up, especially on the lower term timeframes. That would make me sort of reconsider that. 4 hour is going to turn up above 362, so keep that number in mind. Bi hourly is going to turn up above 357 and a half, so keep that number in mind as well. All coming from very low angles, and hourly same thing as well, 353. So understand the order of operations right there. If you can just close above those regions in the short term, you're probably going to be looking for the next bounce, probably going to be the next higher low, probably going to bounce off the 200 simple on the daily, and the healthy consolidation remains. 311 is the major area to be aware of, though. That's where things start to change around, sir. Cool. All right. Nice one, man. Liban Omar says, MDT. Okay, this is a new one for me. MDT. Man, going deep into the shitcoin drawer today. It's measurable data token. Sounds extremely useful. And actually not bad. Actually not bad at all. In fact, one of the better charts that we've seen today, if anything. So you know what? I should fling myself because I should flame myself, or what is that word? I don't even know, but nobody even knows that word. But judge this one a little bit too early right here. This is actually quite good. As far as the macro consolidation goes. Now, I don't necessarily think that it's ready like for this exact moment in time, but ultimately you got uptrends on pretty much every time frame that actually matters right now, even up to a weekly. I'd still want to see an actual break and closure above your basically like 1070-ish region to the upside for, in this case, okay, maybe not new all-time highs. This one does actually have a bit of a history here going back to, oh my God, it's another 2017, 2018 shitcoin, huh? But upon a weekly closure above that pivot, like let's just call it 1070, I would be looking for a general move over the following weeks towards 21 to 22 cents or so, and then very likely consolidation under there. Now short term, does this one pull back first? It's actually showing a lot of resiliency right at the top side resolution of this. So, if I'm on a daily, I'm probably waiting for this one to close above 12 cents. And then, I do look for that next move to kind of occur over time. Very short-term timeframes are actually just trending to the upside right here as well. The problem is I really wouldn't mind another move down to like 7.2 cents or so. Anywhere around there, it's just another higher low, man. So I don't think it's like ready on this current drive, to be fair. We do see that volatility is actually still contracting right here. So I'm more inclined to say that you do play at a range around your highs, which is going to be a sign of strength. So anywhere between here is good. Below 70, 7.2.5, basically just 7.2. I do look for it to correct down significantly towards about 5.8, 5 to 5.9-ish region. That probably comes alongside a Bitcoin breakdown as well. But as long as Bitcoin kind of fights and holds steady, this thing very likely does benefit actually quite a fair bit. So just be aware of where the resolution points are. And, pretty easy one right there. I mean, that's about as obvious as it does get. Just have to kind of wait patiently for that resolution in that case. All right, let's see. Let's pop back around here. I think that we got Julio Yu. He says, hi, sir. Please use a Krown shocker to let us know how you feel about macro TF Matic. Has it topped? Unlikely to have topped in the last week, man. I don't know what macro means to you. Okay, is this a macro top to you? No, it is not. I don't think it is, at least not yet. Where does macro top come into the conversation? That would be at minimum below last week's low, but that wouldn't even be right to begin with. Your last low was right here at 160. So as long as you're above there, no, I do not think that it has had a macro top. I think that you're in a bit of a no, I don't think this is a macro top. It'd be very premature to call something like that right here. Let's actually record this one though, because I think maybe other people might be wondering this as well. All right, here we have Polygon symbol Matic, symbol MATIC, perhaps better said. And the question is right now, have we seen a major top? We've seen a daily top, certainly, and this thing very likely does range sideways and down from here, probably even coming down all the way to about 190 or so. That's not problematic, nor is it a macro top. In this case, where does your macro top, where does the macro rally look like it is essentially a failure and, going to reverse back down towards, $1 lows, maybe lower than that over time? Well, where's your last higher low? Your last higher low in this case is 160, actually a little bit above there, about 162, 165 region. So as long as you're above there, can't really say anything like that. But the daily ranges are rather, important right here. So if we were to actually make it, in this case, for the thing a little bit more relatable, we could use the exact same shit that we've been using for the last week or so right here. This low right here, 180 or 182, very pivotal. Of course, this thing can come down all the way to like I said, about 190 and it'll just be another higher low. I think that you're going to be doing something like this for a while, a little bit of a consolidation right there. And then any sort of a daily closure, again, above the exact same areas that we had from last week, 230, or in this case, 230, probably even 2.25 does it in this case as well. I would be looking for this one to give another move towards, in this case, your 260 highs or so, and then continue onwards and forwards, man. I'm still looking at $3 targets upon continuation, basically. So short-term consolidating here. Yep, I would certainly agree with that. You are going to see volatility very likely contract into the, at minimum, teens, the mid-teens, I imagine, probably more like single digits. Once you see it get down around there, that's at the point where I'd really be looking at this one as having a threatening posture for breaking out to the upside. Until then, as long as you're above 180, I don't see any major risks with this one. For even the daily and below 180, I just look for a correction down to about 160 or so, and that's where the big area is. That's where the weekly would actually lose its posturing and would turn macro bearish. Until then, still patience required on something like this. I think the monthly is still more or less fine here as far as I'm concerned, so I don't have any issues with that. And if we go over here to momentum oscillators, I imagine they're probably showing a corrective posturing, if anything. So let's just double check on them very quickly here and then wrap it up. Daily will cross down with any sort of a closure today below 218, or sorry, 216 in this case, and right now we are about 5 cents below that region. 12-hour is going to freshly cross down below 213, which again is about 2 cents below. 4-hour is nose diving below 2.25, very likely to again have a short-term, medium-term correction here, or just basically daily plays out the range. If I had to call it right now, it very likely comes down to about 190 or so, and then the bounce there will be telling if you get a higher low or not. If you fail that region, obviously same thing on the other side, just looking at targets down to like 160 or so. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Matic, sir. Nice one, man. That was Julio. Yeah, the first one right there. All right, cool. I think we have, and also got Liban, Mr. Omar there. Then we also got the Mad Catter. Nice name, by the way. And nice emoticon, or sorry, nice avatar there. Good morning to you as well, sir. I really enjoyed the interview last week. Oh, no, you just deleted it. I need to read it. Sir, no, I said I got the other one. Can you just put it, just do undo or something like that? Oh, God damn it. All right. Sorry, man. I'm going to blame Elsa on that one. Can you go fish that one out? I feel really bad about that. It was Julio that we already got, sir. It was Julio that we already got. I was no. Just go find it and we can redo it and let me know when you found it. Richard N says, Lambo when? JP, just plain. That's what the cool kids say. Noob wanting to learn more about scalping strategies for backtesting. Watch Caretaker's STC's video. Okay, so you want to know more about scalping strategies for backtesting. So like what kind of scalping strategies can you use? Okay, well here's the most tried and true one, the most basic one, and probably one of the most effective ones that I use. Just looking at fucking ranges. So if you're looking at this right here, I mean, what do we have? We have Bitcoin coming down to the same fucking area it's bounced off of for once, 2, 3, 4, 5, working on time number 6. Look, the more times that it tests into a region like that, it's not a good sign, to be honest with you, but hey, it works until it don't. And well, it's been pretty damn profitable recently. And then just playing range to range high, or in this case, you know, when you do have declining highs, you don't want to be too aggressive with taking profit to the upside on a range low like this. You know, probably just playing up to the next like short-term moving average, or maybe just like the median of the range if you want to pull like a fib on that, something like this. What I probably do, so you know, 47,300 would kind of be you know, my ideal area, just in case it just shoots through to the fucking floor here, because at the end of the day, man, this is I really do not like buying even the third test of a resistance, or sorry, you know, of a resistance or a support, or selling the third test of resistance. Fourth test is a no-go for me. Third one I will usually do, but the second and third usually have about an 80% probability versus a like mid 60 probability. So, you know, on like a medium or higher term time frame. So again, it really just depends on like what you're trying to do. So yeah, fair enough. All right, cool. I think we got Ravinslerus next. He says XCAD, USD, 4-hour and 12-hour and daily. Okay. XCAD, USD. Okay, let's pull this one up over here on Krown. And this one's still playing in whatever the hell I had it from before. Yeah, I still have it as this. I mean, it still works as this technically speaking, but man, I do not like the way that that's looking right now. Anyways, what is your exact question here? 4-hour, 12-hour and daily. Okay, got it. All right, let's start off with the low term time frame, see if they're actually looking very weak right now. Will we have any divergences here? Well, no, you won't. No, you won't. That's a problem. And volatility is very, very low right now as well. So this thing it's probably going to bounce here again. Let's actually just see really, really quickly from this angle over here, and then we'll run through it. Yeah, 4 hours going to cross back up above 608. So you're right within striking distance within that right now. 12-hour will cross back up above 664, and daily is going to freshly cross above 609. You know, look, I just want to see one more bounce off this region, anywhere back above like 610 by end of day. Very likely does sit in another higher low right here on the daily, and you can still kind of run with the hopium that this is one massive reaccumulation formation. If we go to a 12 hours, you requested as well. I'm not really getting anything unique from this, but you know, all these time frames technically are, you know, showing some downside obviously, and you know, looking for moves towards 569 and perhaps even all the way down to your range low bases, which would be about 532 in this case. So here's the thing, it's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does, right? If you want to look at the short-term hopium, here's what it is. The short-term hopium is that you got a bit of a range playing out right here, and you're going to bounce off the range lows yet again. It's probably going to be a higher low right there, and then once you get back above 711, things look good again for returns back, I guess, into your prior highs or your prior all-time highs. Yeah, your prior all-time highs. I'm curious actually where the weekly closed. The weekly says that is hopium and that you're probably going to come down, but you didn't ask about that time frame. I just think that it's relevant here, as does the 5-day. Probably looking for another base around 540 to 530ish region, to be quite honest with you. So I guess in this case, you know, if you want to play it by the time frames that you are looking at right here, you can treat it as, I suppose, healthy-ish new higher low, as long as you're above the 590 or so region on a 4-hour closing basis. Below there, I don't think that there's any more short-term, medium-term hopium, and very likely does come back down to about 540 to 535 region. You probably also see Bitcoin break down if a move like that's going to play out. Until then, you know, technically speaking, should be looking for bounce off this region right here, and then this starts to look a lot better above 711. So, you know, take that as you will, but I do want to be a little bit more direct in saying that was a bit more hopium right there than I typically like to talk about. Cool. All right, let's see. We got that. I think we move on now to Space Chase. Sorry, not Spencer Chase, but Space Chase. There we go. Hey, Krown, hope all is well. I'm planning on managing risk on a daily close below the daily low of 41,000 bucks. How do you manage risk if you get a stray wick that could take price a lot lower? This is a really, really good question and very relevant as well. So this is something that I should have recorded this one. Should I have recorded this one? All right. So basically, let me reiterate what you're doing here, and then say what I like about this, and say like the pros and cons about this, because basically it comes down to your risk tolerance. But you are essentially planning on buying some massive wick to the downside right here. So first off, that is an assumption that that's actually going to happen. So we're just talking about setup here purely. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm only saying that if given these conditions, this is how to play it. So you want to buy somewhere down around here, around that last major daily wick low. Or I don't even actually know where you're buying, but you're just managing on a closure below this wick low right here, which is, let's see, the wick low was 42,823 basically on the index. So anywhere below there, on a daily closure, that would be very much relevant. And I would agree with that. Problem is, as you stated, if you're waiting for a closure, you might get one of those situations where, it just fucking runs away from you, and all of a sudden it's coming all the way down below $40,000, and you're like, holy shit, I'm waiting for a closure here, and this is not looking good, sir. So there's two ways to handle this. The first way is an okay way, but it's not optimal in my opinion, and but it is going to usually be better, a better out for you, and that would be going down to a lower term time frame, typically a third of whatever time frame that I was specifically looking at. So in this case, that would be an 8 hour, or probably just a 6 hour is fine anyways, a third or a fourth of that time frame. And then if you see a closure below that pivot right there on that time frame, out. I don't want to be waiting for the daily at that point, especially in a highly volatile situation. The other way, and the way that's actually better, is to wait for a wick lower than the prior wick low of the prior range, or sorry, of in this case the prior higher low. This way does again have a lot of risk involved, but you'd essentially be getting out below about 40, whatever this low is right here at about 40,759 on the index, and that would be a hard stop loss, or a stop market in this case. Those are the two ways that I would play a situation like that. Now, of course, that's more than $1,000 of risk right there. But here's the thing: when you're trading a higher term time frame setup, which is what I'm guessing you're doing right now, you're naturally going to have more risk on those setups, and that's just the trade-off right there. That's the pros and cons between looking for the home run play like that, where you're kind of buying a lottery ticket down here. At the same point, you are gonna technically risk more in order to play a position like that, in order to do it correctly, because otherwise, if you have it anywhere in between there, you're probably going to get taken out of position, and it still might end up being good. That's really the issue with those sort of situations. So fair enough. It's a fair proposition. I do know that several people trade like that, including myself sometimes, and it can be massively profitable. But just understand the negative aspect of that as well. All right, cool. We got Reshab next. He's looking at, hey, hope your weekend was good as well, man. Thank you for that. Cadena on the 1 and 4 hour. If Bitcoin does test lower ranges of 42 again, do you see Cadena testing lower sixes? Let's see. So for Reshab, yeah. Oh my Lord, what the fuck happened there, man? Hey, what the hell happened there? Hey, what happened over here, man? What was this? What was this shit? Oh my Lord. Yeah, just kind of speaking off the cuff here. Yeah, I would be looking for something like that. Again, assuming that Bitcoin, in the situation that Bitcoin does test around 42 to 43,000 bucks, you probably come back down and fill around this wick low. It's not just the wick low, but it's also your prior range lows. And as we stated before, these sort of setups typically do retest around those regions. At least statistically speaking, it is very much relevant. So we played out this first move over here. We got that. It's still downtrending, obviously. The hopium for you on something like this. Well, it's not even hoping, because you didn't ask about this, but I think it's important to say anyways. We could also be talking about major reversals here, or at least like relevant reversals here for daily, with any sort of a daily closure back above this this pivot that you saw a few days ago, that being about 1265 or so. I wouldn't necessarily need to wait for 1337 in this case. Either one of those is fine, and very likely does trade back up towards the upper teens, like 17, 18 bucks or so. Until then, though, yeah, this one does look quite weak, and looks like it at minimum is going to test somewhere down around about 9.25 or so. And then, the question is, do you lose that level or not? If you do, it's a long way down, because, well, you did this on the way up, and That looks like a blow off to me, sir. That looks like Bear Jesus is waiting with 2 red dildos, and he does not know exactly who he wants to shish kebab just yet or when, but it is very likely coming, man. Anyways, sorry about that. I think we have Icebox next. He says, hey, Krown, do you use a different strategy when the market's trending versus ranging? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so when the market's trending, I like to trade what I call the Krown cross, which is basically, there's a lot more to it than this. If you're in the program, you already know, but basically it's a moving average strategy that is mediated by volatility and momentum to a lesser extent. And what are you doing right there? And let me just see. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that I'm addressing the whole question. Or ranging. And when it's ranging, I just trade basically like this, which I actually did not do that much of last week. Basically just buying, the range lows, selling the range highs, or in this case, declining range highs. I was being very aggressive with it. I did not, I certainly did not maximize the gains from last week, but it was a good week nonetheless. Anyways, yeah, just want to make sure that I got every point of that one. Yeah, so we got market trending versus market trading. Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, in an ideal situation, I just do it with options, which would be much, much better on a range. But at the same time, if the question is quite limited, do I use different strategies for different portions of whatever the market is doing? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then sometimes, sometimes I don't even feel, or it's not that I don't feel, but I'm not compelled to trade one of those strategies as well. Maybe I'm just waiting for a range because I feel like that's easier and that's where I'm, I just have a better edge right now. Sometimes I feel that way as well. And where do I get that from? I get that from referencing my trade checklist and trade journal, which essentially tells me like, okay, this, for this week in this environment, you do not have much success doing your trend trading strategies. So you should probably do a little bit more of your range trading strategies because something is not working right there within the context of your prior statistics on that strategy. So usually that's like a good sign. That's why it's really, really important to kind of keep very detailed notes on whatever the fuck you're doing. If you're not doing that, it's really hard to, it's really hard to do anything if you're not doing that. I mean, Jesus Christ, like you don't even know what you're doing if you're not doing that, which is just so funny, man, because whenever someone brings up to me like a question similar to that, which not necessarily exactly your question, but just a similar question to like, what should I do with my strategy? It's like, okay, have you been taking notes on it? It's like, no. It's like, okay, maybe do the bare fucking minimum, sir. It's like, maybe try that. Let's see. We got long-term investor. What's up, man? Good morning to you. Lisk BTC. Okay, I'm very certain that this is a 2017 shitcoin. Let's see where it's at right now. Let's see if this one survived. And no, it is trending towards zero. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, it gets even worse, man. Sir. This is very concerning to look at charts like this. Very, very concerning to look at charts like this. This one trends towards zero. This one trends towards zero. And if I had to say one thing about this, the log chart makes it look good. Well, it doesn't make it look good. It makes it look relatively good. Garbage. Absolute garbage, sir. Anyways, you're looking for a reversal. Why are you looking for a reversal on something that's never reversed ever? It's never reversed. It's been around for 3 years. No, it's been around since 2016. This is even worse. It's never been in an uptrend on the macro. Look, you're probably going to get bounces. Like maybe that's what you mean. Maybe you're looking for bounces. Look, what's that Texas saying? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You're probably going to get a pretty nice bounce at some point yet again. I mean, it does have its bounces, obviously, but for the love of God, man, reversal. This thing's never reversed. It's never reversed. It doesn't know what an uptrend is. It only knows down, man. There is no talks of reversal in this thing as long as you're below like 8,000 satoshis. But I'm guessing you're looking for a bounce, of which you might see another pity bounce here back up towards mid fives. But that's probably not what you're looking for. Your next big bounce very likely comes off of the retest of around your, I guess in this case, all-time lows at just below 4,000 satoshis. And I mean, no time frame on this chart is looking good. The monthly is beyond fucking wrecked, man. This thing is just absolute hot garbage. Whatever the hell this project is purporting to do, they have not done it. It seems like. They've not done that, man. And again, whenever I'm talking harshly about a chart like this, I'm not talking about you as a person, man. You're probably fine as a person. In fact, you're very likely fine as a person. As a chart, though, terrible. Just fucking terrible. This thing has no business being traded to the upside as long as it's been in just a I mean, it's never gone up, man. It's never gone up. It's never known a weekly uptrend. Not even once. Not even fucking once. I don't have a reason to believe that that's going to happen right now, especially with Bitcoin potentially being on, on its own last legs right there too. Bitcoin breaks down. You're very likely going to see this thing come back down to 4,000 satoshis. Bitcoin breaks up. I think best you do to the upside is maybe mid fives. I would be bullish on this thing back above 75 to 7,600 satoshis, even though it wouldn't even necessarily be another higher high, but it very likely does put in a nice rally after that into the low teens. But other than that, man, just really, really awful right there. Really, really awful chart. Yeah, man. Let's see. Okay, we have Mr. Trent Norton next. No, sorry. Yeah, okay, we got... All right, let's see. Trent Norton says HTR 4-hour and daily. Sure, man. Let's pull this one up over here. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, got it. Let's see. Let's go to a daily right here. Actually looks pretty damn good. Had a really good move. Okay, so we charted this one as a range last we looked at it, which obviously had to have been maybe not Friday of last week, but probably, I don't know. I do remember that we looked at least once or twice, that and Rune Chain, which are kind of like the same thing to me. Similar to one of the other charts that we saw earlier today, some of the other ones that were looking a little bit more relatively strong. I do think that you're still playing out a bit of a daily range here with short-term downside, but don't confuse that with like bad. If I'm looking at the daily specifically, which I believe is what you asked for, you're, basically anywhere back down to like 130 is completely fine, and just another higher low anywhere down around here is completely fine. But yeah, short term very likely does trade down from here. Barring a 4-hour closure back above about 190 or so, at that point, I guess I'd reverse my opinion on that one and look for another retest of your highs in this case, 2.25 to 235 actually, and very likely new highs after that, I imagine, because this one's, it's already at new highs. Weekly is good, but again, I think that you're going to be ranging here for a little bit of time and very, very likely test around 150. If things get a little more nasty, then maybe you see a full move down to about 1.25, but anything above there is just another higher low. And I imagine that, you're going to see volatility very likely contract and come down, and you probably see it come down at minimum below 50 percentile, preferably somewhere around 25 percentile. At that point, I would say that this one's a lot more mature within this consolidation, just barring any sort of a lower low below your last low. I look at this as a very healthy consolidation. It's probably going to take some time here, so going to be boring for a little bit of time with some sideways and down, but that is a good long-term setup. I imagine the weekly, we looked at this the one. What about the monthly? Yeah, the monthly is just the back filling up. I imagine this one actually, it might even perform well into the end of the year, like around the end of this year. It's only like another 10 days or so. More likely early January in this case, but yeah, not bad right there. Not bad on the long term. All right, cool. All right, sweet. Let's see. I think we got John Brooks next. Says, Huva Paiva. I think that means good day. Good day to you as well, sir. Can you please prognosticate? Yes, I will put on my prognostication gloves, sir. VRA USD on Veracity, Bittrex right here. You're looking at a daily and a weekly. Let's go to a weekly right here. Very similar to Bitcoin, playing off the weekly 55 in this case. Daily, very similar to Bitcoin as well. I imagine you're probably going to do whatever Bitcoin does in this case. Does that come alongside one more test to the downside here, somewhere around your 4th of December wick lows? Perhaps yes, but I kind of like the same analysis on as I do on Bitcoin, just with different numbers here, right? As long as you're above this last higher low that you saw from late September at around, what is this, like around just below 3 cents or so, that's fine. Short term can come down. I mean, short term it is still bearish, obviously. Still got lower highs the whole way through. Hopium is that you do pop back above this 378 high right here. That would be what I need in order to call a bit of a medium-term reversal with targets back up towards your prior range highs at around 435 to 4.5 cent or so. Wouldn't be looking at this area no longer, somewhere more around this area right here. And that starts to look a lot better as this one just building in a major daily low for what it's worth. But again, I don't think that this one's going to be strong enough to operate on its own. Very likely does whatever the fuck Bitcoin does, which right now Bitcoin's doing the dance of death. Let's see. Yeah, if it does dump out, I'm probably looking somewhere down around, just around 2.7 to 2.8 or so, I guess. See, what does the monthly look like? Yeah, the monthly does look a little bit more wrecked to me, actually. Yeah, it actually does look quite wrecked to me indeed. But hey, whatever Bitcoin does, this one very likely follows. So just easy to watch Bitcoin in this case. I mean, it's right fucking there, man. It's right fucking there. So I guess, if I'm just making it as simple as possible, that last 4-hour high that you saw from yesterday, as long as you're below there, have to be bearish. I mean, and it is a trend right now. And the 4-hour, for what it's worth, is ready to move with volatility low like this. And momentum oscillators do suggest downside continuation. All of them, actually, on the lower term timeframes. Is it the same thing on CME here? CME can still go either way. Yeah, I'm not getting a full signal from CME. In fact, volatility on CME is also completely different as well. Huh. Yeah, I'd probably just have alerts around those areas and just trade on the peripheries. Make it a lot easier. Let's see, did I miss some over here? No, okay, we're good right there. So it means that we go back up over here. And we have Mr. Created Equal Ethereum says, some AVAX. Okay, would you long AVAX if it retests the 55 on the daily? I don't know, let's see. Well, look, here's the problem. Okay, you're saying historically it looks like a solid buy. Okay, so it sounds like you've maybe backtested this like a little bit. Yeah, I mean, historically speaking, it has been generally a good buy. But here's the problem with a question like this. Again, and no offense, but it shows that you don't have all facets of what is needed in a trade in a trade to actually make it actually good. Which means you don't just need an entry, you need where are you taking it off? What is the purpose of this trade? Are you going to hold this thing for the rest of your life? Are you going to hold this thing for like a short-term scalp? What is a short-term scalp for you? What are you going to be targeting based off of that? All of these things could make a decent profitable trade, but it's the combination of them that actually, are going to make that relevant. In this chart, very similar to the other ones. In fact, I'm going to record a video on this one. So I'll just get through it here. But here we have Avalanche, symbol AVAX versus the dollar. And very similar to a lot of the other charts that we looked at today, it's had a damn good move over the weekend. That is good. That does show probably long-term health on this one. But ultimately, you're still within a general range here and very likely do trade sideways and down from here. If we're on the lower term time frames, like a 4-hour, probably gonna have another interim bounce somewhere around about 101 and a quarter or so, but barring any sort of a 4-hour closure back up about 119, I don't look at this one as range resolved yet. And I very likely look at daily BBWP to very likely contract again into the next, higher low on this one, which can come anywhere above that 81 and a half to $82 region, which probably does come with a move back down, not just to the 55 as you're asking, but probably even a little bit lower than that. Tries for a higher low somewhere around here, if I had to guess, between about 87.5 to 81.5. And at that point, if you see a higher low somewhere right around there and a bit of a reversal, that's going to look really, really good. But for right now, I think at best you're ranging sideways. And within that range, I think that you trade a little bit sideways and down here with some short-term bounces in between. And assuming no bounces get back above your critical regions right here, just looking for a range. I would obviously get bearish on this thing below 81.5 on a daily. Until then, weekly and higher term time frames are looking good here. I just think it's consolidating for a while, which is fine. Let's go check out over here to see if stochastic momentum is also corrective as well. Daily is going to freshly cross down below $96, which right now you're above by about $7, so not a humongous threat right there. 12-hour is also freshly crossing down below 112. 4-hour is nosediving below 113. Dare I say this one is again at best short-term sideways and down within a corrective posturing. Long-term still good, basically as long as you're above that last daily low. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for AVAX, sir. Nice one, man. Hey, Elsa, could I actually ask you to grab the little shot thing that I put in the fridge? I think it actually massively helped my throat right now. That was Created Equal Ethereum. Cool. I think we have, who do we have next? We got Elliot Diggs next, I believe. Where is he? There he is. Good morning to you as well, bro. Even though you lightweight crucified me last week over my DMI question, I still love you. I still love you as well, man. Look, it's all said with love, and sometimes maybe I get a little bit too passionate about the way that I say things. So maybe I do owe you an apology. But overall, man, I just hope that it's all good, man. When in doubt, it's all good. Let's see, Tesla over here. But yeah, I do understand that sometimes it can be a little bit too passionate, we'll say. Okay, so we did get our gap fill that I think we spoke about this like last. Yeah, and this one's still corrective long term to me. I wouldn't coming into next year. I would not be surprised to see this thing make a move down to $800. But short term, it should bounce from here. You do got the gap fill right here. Do you bounce back up above 995 or not? It's a real question. If you do, you could make an argument that it is still short-term healthy-ish, I guess. But let's see how it actually closed the day. Yeah, did not close the day too hot. Actually, did close it on a bit of a downtick there. So I'm inclined to say that this one actually will fail. Maybe gets one more bounce here. Bounce come back up anywhere below 990 is completely fine. But I actually do think that this one will fail and trade lower, probably into the end of the year, somewhere around about 870 or so. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. See monthly, how we looking like right here? Should be looking for bounces relatively soon, but anywhere around about mid to upper 800s is kind of where I'm looking for, and then we'll come back to it in January. But ultimately, should see a bigger bounce off of that region, maybe after one more test to the downside. It's kind of what I'm looking for on NASDAQ and SPY as they open up later today for the trading day. Until then, it's not looking too hot right here. I do think that you have a nice top in for now, but there will be bounces along the way. And, let's see. Sorry, I have to shake this thing up. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that one. Let's see. But what about the other one that you deleted? Is that him? Or someone else? Okay. Oh, you haven't found it. All right. Well, whoever that was, hopefully they can hear us now and repost it, because I do feel really bad about that. No, I don't remember his name, but it was like the second one that popped up there. Anyways, Tesla quarterly. Coming into the end of the year, not looking too hot, man. So let me just down this shot really quickly here. My throat's like a little bit scratchy. It was a cold morning this morning. Jesus Christ. Can you? What the fuck? Oh fuck! Whoa, that actually tastes kind of good. All right, let me find. Who was it? Leo? Did you say Leo? All right, let me just. Okay. Let's see. All right, Leo YouTube says, greetings from Argentina. Hey, nice, man. The beef capital of the world, man. Love it. It's very early. I imagine, man. Let's get updates on your options testnet, please. What screen last time you forgot? I mean, there's nothing really to update here, man. I do have on my other screen over here. I mean, it's got like 29 Bitcoin in it right now, so I gave up a little bit of my P&L, but I haven't really been focusing on it recently. Should I put on some positions right now coming into potentially this next move? Let's see. Okay, can I find anything good? Let's see. Is there anything even offered here? For the love of fucking God. Okay, there's 40,000 strike puts offered for 0.0110. Not the worst, but that is just a vol play right there. Let's see. Maybe I can buy the Januaries for some. Is there anything offered there? Not really. Yeah, not really, man. Honestly, I'm not too inclined to be trading this account right now, just because it's well, I mean, it's not real money, which is the problem. But basically, I'm basically holding the same underlying positions. If you want to see it right here, I can just pull it in really quickly. Still, I'm assuming this is what you're interested in right here. I'm still holding my $33,000 long. I have no reason to give that one up. And then I'm holding some short calls right there. Let's see, what is this one? Yeah, short 111 calls for a bit of a spread. I'm giving up some P&L on my December $60,000 call strike. Nothing too interesting, man, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I'll put on some positions at the end of this week. I keep on saying that, but I just can't bring myself to do it right now, as Bitcoin is actually showing a move, and I need to get ready on my actual account just in case this does happen during this stream. That would be really, 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 really useful. So let me just bring this up really quickly here, because I do not want to miss this if this does actually happen during the stream. Maybe I get lucky. Maybe get a little bit lucky. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Let's see. We got Mr. G Money next. Wait, let me just make sure that is G Money. It is G Money. All right, G Money. Let's see. MIR USD 4 hour and daily. Okay, MIR USD. Okay. Looks bad, man. Looks bad. Looks real bad. 4 hour and daily. We have another chart that just trends to the fucking downside, man. Another chart that trends to the downside. This one's actually rather obvious, though. If you can just even trade back above this last little wick high right here, $3 or so, I would be looking at this as a nice reversal. You even have a higher low in place right now as well. Even the daily jewel is actually giving off a little bit of a signal, so maybe there's some hopium here. But if I go down to the very low term time frames, like a 4 hour, it's just another lower high right now. It looks like. Do we have hidden bearish divergence potential? Yeah, we do. This is a little bit of a sorry, actually this would be a little bit more useful. So where did this high come in? Right here. Yeah, it is a little bit higher right there. So technically speaking, we do have some hidden bearish divergence. Very likely trades back down towards 240 to 250. Sorry, 240, and tries for a bit of a bounce there. But you know, let the trend be your friend in this case, man. In this case, as long as you're below, okay, on the, again, it's doing this damn thing again where on the daily, you got a wick like this. On the daily, you got a wick like this, but on the 4 hour, it's actually significantly lower. You know, which one do you go to in this case? Probably fine. And this one is 290. It's close enough anyways. But back above 290, I'd call a reversal. Until then, short-term, sideways and down. Very likely going to test about 240 or so. On the other side, I mean, you do have a daily higher low, so fair enough. Any sort of a daily closure below about 235 or 236 in this case, I'd be very, very bearish on it and looking for a retest officially of your low at about 209. And, well, continuation of macro trend, baby. But for right now, yeah, if Bitcoin shows any weakness here, man, if Bitcoin basically shits the bed, that thing's gonna get nailed to the fucking cross, I imagine. All right, sweet. Was that the guy from earlier? Where's Richard P? Okay, XRP. All right, we got you. All right, this is the first time I'm seeing this one. 87 cents. You're looking at a what? No time frames given, for the love of fucking God. Did have a nice little pump up right there. I think this is kind of the hopium that Bitcoin does something similar to that as well. But unfortunately for Ripple, has it gotten above any relevant regions for reversing trend here? If you're on a 4 hour, which I imagine you might be, you actually be using this area right here, but it's the same thing, essentially 92.32 in this case. I imagine that was for a daily. Indeed, it was for a daily. Until then, you know, where's your obvious reversal area? Daily closure above that region very likely does beget continuation towards above a buck again, about a $1.03 to a $1.05 region. That'll start to make the weekly look like a higher low here as well, which would be good, but and the higher low would actually have some hidden bullish evidence here as well. So there actually is a decent setup here. So it did kind of contract into that one on the weekly. But I don't know what time frame you're going off of, man. So it's kind of difficult. If I'm looking at a 4 hour right here, how would I chart this one on a 4 hour? I really just want to see a 4 hour closure above the 200 simple right there. So just above 92.5 cents or so would look good to me, especially on like an open and closure above that region. That might be front runnable for the daily and weekly setup in this case. I think maybe the 5 day is probably gonna be the most obvious one here. Hopefully it's gonna be the most obvious. And yeah, the 5 day is starting to look a little bit more like a local low here as well. And you would have hidden bullish evidence if it does put that in. So that's gonna be closing out tonight, but tomorrow night, anywhere above 90, basically that 92 cent region will also do it. So is the 4 hour gonna front run both the daily and the 5 day? Actually, yes, in this case, or very likely yes. The problem is, again, as with all of the things that we're looking at today, if Bitcoin next to the downside, well, it's probably not going to do too well for this thing as well, but fair enough. I mean, this range trade has been working for 3 weeks. What's another damn test over here? Let's see. Okay, I think we skipped. Yes, we got Venom Incorporated now. He says, for your personal long-term holds based on your TA, do you sell off before and then buy back in? I don't hold anything long-term. I don't know what that necessarily means to you. What I do have is I have basically all of my profits that I made from trading over the past 3 years since 2017. I've just put into a cold wallet and I don't touch it. And maybe you consider that a long hold. But I don't really trade that. Sometimes I'll trade around it, but I just look at that as like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this because I have a long-term bullish bias on Bitcoin for like, you know, the next 10 years or so. I don't have any plans to touch it. So it's very, very long. So no, I don't trade off of that. The highest time frame that I'll trade off of as far as trend goes is the daily, and I don't consider that like a long-term hold. And it very rarely happens as well. But anyways, you're saying, based on TLs, do you sell off before and then buy back in? So you're basically asking if I trade around the positions. If it's like a really fucking obvious one, yes, I will. So for example, when Bitcoin broke 63,500 over here, which is where we started to like say, hey, this is no longer, you know, immediately bullish and gonna turn in, gonna have some nasty downside. That's where I started to cover it a little bit with some shorts off on exchange, but I don't really think of it that way, to be quite honest with you, man. In fact, I really just think of it as me like trading that trend for my trading account. Technically speaking, it is kind of a cover for my underlying longs, but I really don't even like that bag of Bitcoin. I don't even consider that I have. Like, I've no plans or even like intention to use it anytime soon. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a black hole basically. Anyways, you're looking for Wi-Fi on a 4 hour daily. We can run through that one really quickly here. Snuck in 2 on that one. Weird as hell looking chart right there. Weird as hell. 4 hour looks a little bit like an early reversal right here. However, if you're going to judge, or I'd judge this reversal with a 4 hour close above 34,800. I imagine I charted this one for the daily priorly. And the daily is actually holding that, so I should be looking at this as an early reversal. You know, maybe I do look at this one as an early reversal. That also means that you could use the 31,650 as a pivot to the downside for intense bearishness yet again, back down to the mid, $25,000 region. But until then, it's actually okay right there. Let's see, what do we look like right here? Yeah, gonna probably gonna play a bit of a range right there, but that's actually okay. That actually does look like a little bit of reversal. Anywhere above that 34,800-ish number on a 4 hour closure, and I'd actually be looking for the daily to push on through in the following weeks, somewhere around your prior major range highs, which is in like the low 40,000s. Man, this thing has some massive fucking ranges. God damn, that is, well, it's your money, not mine, sir. Super Googly Lee says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Can we have a look at HSI daily and weekly? Yes, this is Hang Seng Index on TVC. And I remember last we looked at this. It's pretty ugly, but we're probably in a bouncy area. And I don't really have anything new to add on to this one, man. I'm still looking for a bounce off this one coming into end of year. You're on the 200 simple for the year. For the monthly here. It's difficult for me to get like super bearish on that. I imagine it's also the quarterly 55. You're probably going to bounce off this area yet again. This has been where all your higher lows come in around, but make no mistake about it, this does not look good right there. Anyways, if you're on a daily and weekly, as you specifically asked for, daily very likely tests a little bit lower before any sort of a bounce. In fact, whoa. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my eyes were playing a trick on me there. Probably test down towards about 22,250 to 22,300 or so. Weekly, same shit basically. Very, very weak here, but I imagine you very likely do get another bounce off this region and do something like this, open up the year, and then your real tests are you're going to be able to get back above this region right here at about 26,000 bucks or so. If you do, probably going to be okay for 2022, but it's just going to be one mega macro range between about 29,500 and the current lows right here. If you fail right there and put another lower high, that's going to be probably the death nail for this one, literally putting in its first downtrend on a monthly ever, and probably going to trade well below 20,000 at that point. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right now. Basically, to summarize it up on the timeframes that you asked about, short term down, very likely retest around your prior like closing wick lows, and then probably gets another bounce there to open up the next year, something like that. All right, cool. Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't skip anyone over here, and no, I did not. So that's good. All right, sweet. And we have, who do we have next? We got Itzy next. What is that? Oh, that is a dog. That is a dog. Miss Itzy says good night and thank you for your cool. Appreciate that, Itzy. Appreciate that. I salute you and thank you for that. And also, what kind of breed of dog is that? It looks really lovely, actually. Ryan Garrettson says, can you please explain why CME gaps tend to get filled? Do institutional professional traders have incentive to move the price to fill it? No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, it's actually a lot more logical than that. Like, people make this into some fucking voodoo magic bullshit, which is just not. But basically, why do CME gaps get filled? Because when trading happens in after hours, you want to make sure when the professionals or when that exchange gets back onto their, back onto their battle station, if you want to call it that, that you want to make sure if like the market agrees with that move. For example, let me find an example. Yeah, here's a good example right here. Okay, so you have this dump over the weekend, right? December 3rd, obviously, didn't trade for that weekend where Bitcoin went all the way down to like 42,000 bucks, and then when it opens back up on Sunday, you're trading at around 49,300 or so, and then you pop back up and fill the gap. Basically, the market wants to find out, okay, we know that we obviously dumped when this thing was not trading, but let's go pop back up there, find out if the market still wants to sell that region, if the liquidity is still there for selling. And well, it certainly was. So it really should be looked at as like a major pivot on the market more than anything else, because like that's all that it's telling you. It just gives a bit of an edge. For like, does the market still agree with this area or not? Because this is obviously a pivotal area. If it does, well, you get something like this, and if it doesn't, well, you get some like this, and both are equally as telling and equally as useful. You just have to understand the interpretation of what that means to begin with, and I think if you understand that from first principles, well, you'd probably deduce that, which you will. Anyways, also XP on a 4 hour. God damn it, we already did XRP. One at a time, too, please. Anyways, Sambo Banjo. Good morning, Cheeseful Man. Can you please check out PYR Vulcan Forged? Remember we looked at this one a while ago. I think we looked at it as kind of toppy-ish after having a pretty impressive run. Let's see where it's at now. I don't see an impressive run there, though. What the hell? There we go. There's my impressive run. And yeah, it was very toppy. I I do think that this one very likely does test around your prior wick lows again. Probably going to give a third test into that region around $21 or so. But I do look at this as a big base being built and kind of the same thing as a lot of the other ones, but this one's certainly not as strong as the other ones. You know, I think at best you're going to be going sideways within this range for a while, and then, you know, assuming you can put in a few higher lows and then pop back above the 31.11 region right here, I'd call that range resolved and very likely does move back onto the upside. But, you know, again, we have another chart here that went parabolic to the upside, and now it's going to be trading sideways at best for a while, and at worst you break below $21 and probably put in some wicks down to 17 or so. So for right now, if you're on the very low term time frames, like a 4 hour as you asked for, looking like it wants to test a bit more to the downside. I'm not really getting too much to be from that, to be fair. Let me just double check right here. Yeah, if anything, if I did have called this one, yeah, I do think that it tests back down towards 21 or a little bit above $21 yet again. The question is it close above there or not? If it doesn't, or sorry, below there or not? If it does, then range resolved and looking for 17 or so. If not, well, then you get to play out sideways for the next like month or two, and then maybe it gives another try to the upside, as verified above about 31.11 in this case. All right, cool. I think we got Aladino Vasquez. Nice name, man. Thinking about buying a big bag of AVAX. Well, I think we already did a video on that one earlier, so we're all good there. But yeah, man, unfortunately, I cannot be your financial advisor. Not that I should be anybody's. Yeah, well, I'm looking at this one now. This is the right chart. This is the best chart for it, and I can assure you of that. Unless if there's like maybe one over here on Huobi, but it's all the same shit, man. It's all the same shit. These charts are just showing less history, so that's why I default to Bittrex in this case. Maybe Binance has more. No, it doesn't. So it seems to me that that Bittrex has the most history. Now I've checked them all. So there you go. It's all the same number. Oh, it is. Hold on. Is it different numbers here? Is it different numbers? Yeah, this one's already at 15. You know what? You are right. I apologize. Why is Bittrex showing this right here? Did it stop trading there or something? All right, well, in that case, it's already resolved the range to the downside. Yeah, it's already resolved the range to the downside, so you are at that next 15 to actually, it didn't just hit the $17 target. It actually wicked below there. Jesus Christ. Probably going to bounce here a little bit more, man. I don't think it's ready to break down more just yet. I'm guessing that's you probably saw something happen on probably something news related on something like this, but basically it's still holding on to the range lows. You probably do pop back up above there before end of day, that being 1635, and trade a little bit more sideways. But ultimately, yeah, well, wait, this chart has a little bit better history as well. Yeah, so this chart has good history as well on KuCoin. Bittrex does as well, but Bittrex doesn't show the same move. So I'm guessing something happened with Bittrex's feed. Very likely to bounce off this area here first, but it does not look good long term. I'd just be looking for lower highs anywhere below about 22 to 23 bucks, depending upon your time frame. Cool. All right, I think we got Dude Daddy next. He says, hey, hey man, you ditched me on the last stream, so here I am again. Sorry about that, man. Well, I don't know what the hell happened there. You're looking at MNST? Probably not. Maybe I just got to your thingy later, because sometimes that can happen. But again, we're going in order of highest value to lowest value here, just so that we can do this in the most optimized way possible. But basically, this thing MNST, I'm looking for this one to maybe come down a little bit lower and probably try for a bounce somewhere around low 9 cent. Anywhere around here is probably where I'm looking for. Just a little bit lower. Actually, that's more like 9.5 cent or so. Try for a bounce right there. Long term, do you still have your weekly higher lows? I imagine you probably do, but doesn't look good. Doesn't look good, man. To be quite honest with you, imagine you don't have anything there because it's a little bit too early in this chart. 5-day, pretty ugly as well, but I would be looking for yet again one more bounce off this region right here, that being about 9.5 cent. Any bounce that fails to get back above 13.5, well, it's just another lower high, man. I'm probably getting ready for another actual break to the downside, but I wouldn't front run a break on this one just yet, to be fair. Somewhere around 9.5 to 9.25, so is where I'm looking for a bounce and then come back to it after that. Yeah, not great there though, let's say. So again, short term, a little bit of downside, very likely bounce after that. Then you got to hold your breath, man, because this is not strong price action right here. This one's kind of falling off a cliff, it looks like. So let's say Bitcoin goes to 42 or 43,000 bucks. You're going to see this thing next minute. You're going to see this thing next minute go. Oops, actually, it's not going to be that far down. Apologies on that. Probably going to see this thing all the way back down to like 7.25 if something like that happens. We got Common Sense next. Thank you for that, man. That is very generous of you. Wishing you the best as well, sir. Just a question: do you think market makers, institutions, whatever you label the alpha money as, man, I could say a lot about that because there's just there are a few things wrong with that statement to begin with. But whatever, I understand what you're saying. So they observe social media. like my channel when you say Bitcoin dropping to X and plays off it? No, they don't, man. So here's the thing, and here's what a lot of people get wrong. Or it's not what they get wrong. It's just a misnomer, basically. So I see this all the time, not necessarily on my channel, but when I do videos on like Elio's channel, or when I go look at the comments on other like major massive channels like BitBoy, like Coin Bureau, like MM Crypto and the Moon and shit like that. If you read through the comments, there seems to be like this weird misunderstanding that these influencers, these bigger accounts need retail to like dump on, so they're telling them lies or something like that. And the fact of the matter is they don't, because it doesn't. First off, it really doesn't, like the market has enough liquidity to begin with. But second off, if you are thinking about like bigger institutions that are dealing with portfolios of $1 billion plus, or in this at this point like tens of billions, or shit, I mean maybe even more than that at this point as well. They do need to engineer liquidity for themselves. So are they watching channels like mine or channels, bigger channels than that? They might take a bit of an ear towards like where the general public is thinking. But at the end of the day, that's not their game, because one, like the combined equity of a channel like this is still a fraction of what they have. I mean, shit, even if like everyone here on a channel with like 140,000 people, if we all literally did the same thing, which we don't, obviously. I mean, everyone's trading different timeframes, different strategies. They have different ideas for those same timeframes and strategies as well. It gets very complicated, obviously, but let's just assume, for argument's sake, that everyone's trading the exact same 140,000 people all at the same time, and we're all going to do the exact same fucking thing, which is obviously not going to happen to begin with. And we all have, an average which is even bigger than what I know it to be. Let's just say it's $10,000, which I know it's actually lower than that, because I've set out, as well as my friends have set out, like Jason Pizzino have set out, those polls and shit, like how much trading equity do you trade in this market, and it's actually below $10,000 on average. Now obviously some people have significantly more and some people significantly less, but on average we could go with that. So I'm going to even go above that at 10,000. So you got 10,000 times 140,000. I mean, is that going to be, well, that's going to be a big number, but it's still not going to be relevant to, of course, a hedge fund manager managing like tens of billions, right? I mean, it's just not the same thing, man. So, and then also like all of these channels, they have different ideas as well, and you just don't know exactly what everyone's doing to begin with. So at the end of the day, what are these big money managers doing? They are essentially, they're in a competition against other money managers. So to directly answer one portion of your question, like who are these people? Are they market makers? Are they institutions? They're not market makers. So this is a really big misnomer by many people in this market. And you can very quickly write off anyone as not having a clue of what they're talking about whenever they say that market makers are moving the price action. Market makers are playing delta neutral strategies. What does delta neutral mean? Delta neutral means that they do not take on directional risk. Their whole name of the game, and this is coming from someone who actually used to be a market maker authorized trader for equity options, the whole name of the game is to not have directional risk. How do you do that? Well, you have some sort of arbitrage. So the way that I was doing it was with options. So we would do like we'd play like reversal conversion markets. If you just have like futures and spot, then you probably have some sort of like stat arbitrage, something like that, man. They're not concerned with that. The people who actually move in this market are big quant firms. So that's like, or big investment firms, big money managers. Those kind of people actually do move the markets, and they're in a competition with each other because they know that that's who actually has the fucking liquidity for them to fill into. So that's really where it does come from. But at the end of the day, like we're kind of mentally masturbating here to begin with, because it's like, who cares where it comes from? We only care about what actually happens, because that's where you can actually base a trade and edge off of. Anything other than that is just, it's usually just noise, to be fair. So it's like who cares who made that last move on December 4th? Like, does it matter if it was 3 Arrows Capital? Does it matter if it was, I don't know, Paradigm? Does it matter if it was whoever? I mean, it's not like they're going to send you a thank you note for your liquidation, right? So I don't think it really matters unless you're just looking for someone to blame. But at the end of the day, we can only blame ourselves, right, for any sort of anything that happens in these markets, because taking personal responsibility for any trades that we have is just, it's going to be the most healthy way to take it on, because even if someone else like caused you to lose money, if you just blame them and make no changes in your own trading behavior, the same thing's going to happen again. And it's like, okay, can I take the same result, but it wasn't my fault and that makes it okay? Well, some people might think that way, but I would not say so. Or maybe you just take responsibility to begin with and it's like, hey, yeah, this thing happened. What could I have done in order to mitigate this or avoid this? That's really where we want to be, of course. But I'm getting way off topic here, man. You're not even asking about any of that shit. Basically, are people paying attention to my channel? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that, man. All we're trying to do as far as technical analysis goes, what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to figure out what the fuck the people who actually move this market are doing. That's all that we're doing. We're just basically looking at the waves of massive whales, to use a bad term. Anyways, Crypto Hustler 101 says, could you please check out Darwinia Network? I don't know the ticker for this, so it'd be maybe it's Ring. Oh, it is Ring. Okay, thank you for that. All right, sweet. Yeah, just as an aside, if you do have a ticker that's a little more obscure, just any ticker at all, really, having like the actual ticker laid out is massively helpful. Ranging on the lows, definitely not a strong chart. Obviously, do you get another bounce off the lows? Probably yes. I think I've charted this one, I guess, before. So I'm looking at the macro right here. In this case, you do have something resembling some lows coming in like this. Short term looks like it wants to come back down and retest around your lows, at minimum somewhere around about 4.5 cents or so. 4.45 or so. Wouldn't be surprised if you actually lose that level and come all the way down towards 3.5 to 3.6 or whatever. Now, do I necessarily think that you're going to make new lows below your current low at what is this exactly? Like 3 cents even before playing out a greater bounce? No, I don't think so. I think that you probably do something like this, right? Probably do something like this, set in a higher low, maybe have a few more pity bounces and then try some upside. But long term, just can't get excited about any chart that looks like this. Macro, as long as you're below about 12 cents. So that's just not helpful. But that's the problem with trading a little pump. Like this is the chart of a pump and dump, man. Pumps up over here, dumps up over here, pumps, dumps, all rallies fail. That's how you know it's pump and dump. Really not great, but there's probably gonna be another pump again. So maybe that's relevant to you. Maybe it's not. I'm gonna take a sip of this water while you marinate on those thoughts, though, sir. There we go. All right, let me pull back over here. Okay, we got that. Okay, we got that. I think it is time for Mr. FD. He says VRA weekly, monthly. I don't think that we've looked at this one just yet. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't, but maybe we did look at this one. Huh. It's almost the exact same chart as Bitcoin here. Look, if you lose this current area right here, I'm looking for at minimum another retest of your wick lows from like 4th of December, which is 2.8. I think it's like 2.8 or 2.7 or so. Probably tries for another bounce there. Technically speaking, I have a measure move a little bit lower, but I highly doubt that's going to happen without at minimum a bounce somewhere around like your 2.7 to 2.75 region first. So again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one's gonna follow. So where's your relevant region to the upside to get a little bit excited about this thing? I would say above 378. If you want to be super aggressive, you use this high right here. I don't think that'd be wise though, nor would I do it myself, but more aggressive people will. I don't think it'd be a good idea. However, above this area right here, that's where things actually do change, and I'll be looking for short-term moves back up just north of 4.25. So cool. All right, we got that. Warren Baum says, how will Urine go with platform fees to holders now in buybacks? So you're asking a fundamental question to a technical analyst who pays zero attention to this at all. You don't want my opinion on this, man. I can give you an opinion on the chart. Looks good. I mean, looks good for a bit of a reversal here, but short-term bit, a bit of sideways. Just want to see that one close above 34,800. I think we looked at this one earlier today, and then I'll be looking for this one to return back up towards 37 to probably 37,000 short-term, and then maybe more long-term above 40,000. That's where that one starts to look really, really good for the macro. Until then, coming in that range is obviously good. Very, very bearish below 31,600 or so. But until then, it looks okay right there. Stocks here says, brother, oh brother, what's up, man? Let's shitcoin together. Oh dear lord, we got doggy coin. Oh, here we go, doggy coin. Where's my good old dog derp coin over here? 1665. Looking real strong yet again. Hey, the LARP lines played out, not bad. But those LARP lines, man. Those fucking LARP lines, while they did play out right there, it's just another lower high. It's just another motherfucking lower high, man. Probably give another test down to like 1580 or so. This isn't ready to break down yet. Again, Probably not actually. It actually looks like it's putting a bit of a low right here, to be fair, on the daily. Look, if you want to make this one as simple as possible, daily closure above 19 cents, good. Daily closure below 15.70, bad. Short-term very likely test somewhere around 16-ish, we'll call it. But that would actually be a higher low right there. It looks like a little bit of a diamond reversal in progress, so I'd give it the benefit of the doubt in this case. Again, if Bitcoin breaks down to 41 or sorry, like 43,000 bucks, this thing will get absolutely fucking boo-caked. I imagine that's where you actually do play out down below about 10 cents. But until then, it does have a little bit of a reversal formation in there in play. Just need to see Bitcoin reverse back above its critical region, which I'd say the earliest verification of that would be 48,300. Personally speaking, I'd be waiting for 49.3. Cool. Let's see. Leet Slip says, is Ethereum Classic living in shitcoin land? I don't know. I haven't looked at this one in, it's got to be a very long time. I can't recall the last time I looked at this. In fact, I was using these white horizontals, which makes me realize it was a very long time ago. Is it in shitcoin land? I mean, it's not good, man. That's your question, but hey, there is one good thing about it. This thing made massively new highs above its 2017 highs, which most 2017 shitcoins cannot say, so that's a good sign. But is it in shitcoin land right now? This one's just it's going to outperform to the downside and underperform to the upside, but I imagine you're probably building up some bullish evidences coming off these lows. Yeah, it probably does. Where does this one turn around a little bit short term? Back above 36.68, and I look for this one to give a nice quick move towards low 40s, and it looks like you got another major low in here, and yeah, it probably trades up from there, to be fair. I mean, working its way into like the mid 40s after that would not be an issue at all. Again, just watch whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin breaks down, this thing will very likely outperform to the downside, and at minimum test down to about 29 bucks. Did this thing get above $100 in the last parabolic blow off? It did. Holy shit. Oh my lord, man. That is so brutal. That is so fucking brutal, man. All right, sweet. Hey, what's up, Mr. D? Good morning to you, Sir Krown. What's up, man? Has answered my prayers. Gonna BTFD. By the way, Jewel and 4-hour daily looking to accumulate the lows on this one. I'm guessing you're talking about Bitcoin. Let's see. Maybe I've missed this one. Let's double check. Jewel is kind of switching around into. I mean, you can almost visualize a trend line, right? I wonder if this has been working out well right here. It's gotten all the highs actually. 1, 2, 3. Got the fourth one right there. I don't know, man. The DMI hasn't switched around just yet, but that one's going to come later, to be fair. So basically, you're looking at this as a, it's very likely to reverse on the test towards the pink. We'd want to see this really start to soften out. And the problem is we can't actually make a reverse function for this. We're working on a reverse function for this, but we're going to have to actually do it through the app because TradingView limits the pine coding, like the amount of shit that you can do apparently. So it makes it difficult. But yeah, for right now, man, I'm not so sure about that. I'd really want to see it like soften up immediately on like at minimum before midday close on the next 12 hour. If not, well, fair enough. I do see what you're saying though there. Cool. All right, Rahul G says, hey man, thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Does Dixie look scary for Bitcoin? Okay, this is a really, really good question here, especially when, we're all kind of paying attention to what the Fed is doing nowadays, because the whole narrative is, the liquidity bubble and inflation, all that good stuff, or maybe not so good stuff. But basically, it depends what time frame you look at, right? So if I'm on a quarterly, I have to be bullish on this chart, man. Got a hidden bullish evidence right here. You got a higher low. It looks fucking good. Probably trades back up towards 99. It's not great, man. Monthly, again, looks like it's lifting off here as well. And then weekly, I mean, this thing, last week we set up a potential reversal condition for this with a closure below 95.5. That wasn't just not fulfilled. It literally put in continuation move right there. This one's probably working its way higher, man. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably looking for it to test back up towards this block right here, just in the shallow, mid to shallow 97 region. So, is it scary for Bitcoin? Yeah, I do think so. On the macro scale, we do see that they play opposite of each other. So, and when I say on the macro scale, I mean like the monthly trend in this case. And the monthly just put another higher low right here. So, yeah, I'd say it's probably at minimum gonna get an official test in the 97 region. Does that force Bitcoin below its current range lows? Probably yes. And then the question is, does it top out there or not for a bit of a short-term pullback? That's the hopium, I think. If it does, you probably see Bitcoin put in a major low relatively soon, whether it be here or around 43 to 42. Around 43, I'd say. And if it doesn't, then, well, back down to the mid to low 30s, I imagine. So hopefully that's helpful, sir. Let's see. Dr. Thomas Raspberry says, I like raspberries, man. At ADA. Oh, man, you done did it now. Cardano, huh? Carderpio in the house right here. We're at 1 hour and 50 minutes right now, so we will shut this down at about 2 hours. So we got about 10 more minutes here. I would, Elsa, can you close the chats now? Can you put the message up so I can pin it? Cool. Let's see. Cardano is still ugly as all hell, but look, you do have a bit of a descending triangle on the lows here, so I should be looking for a breakdown. In this case, where's your breakdown? 4 hour closure, basically below about 119.5. Do you have a measure move on this one? Yes, indeed you do. I imagine it's going to be pointed towards $1 even. Let's just double check. And it is 106 actually. If that does resolve, again, if you see something like that, Bitcoin probably has already broken down. So Bitcoin's a little bit easier to watch here. And look, if Bitcoin reverses and pops back above, yeah, I got it. Pops back above this area right here. I'd say that this is, let me just get my ray out. There we go. 132. Then I'd say that you got a nice low in right here. And this one very likely gives us next like actual bounce to the upside. Minimum targets towards 150, and then probably does give a move towards somewhere between about 150 to 160 over the following week or two. Personally speaking, this market hanging at the lows for so long without breaking down does make me think that we're going to put in a bit of a bear trap reversal here, but just understand where those conditions are actually verified, because until then it's really not good trading nor analysis to be saying otherwise. So kind of have to say my piece on that one, man. Anyways, let's see. We got Jesus Canto. He's back. DAR 1 and 4 hour. By the way, which tier for channel for basic videos? I think any of them work actually. At least that's where they set it up. So should be all good right there. Let's see. 1 and 4 hour. And again, they're very, very basic. But oh, nice. You did say that, so you understand. DAR. I imagine we got some bullish divergence come off that low. We do. And we're gonna have hidden bearish divergence if it does put in a lower high right here. So how would you confirm that? 4 hour closure below about 198 would do it. So as long as above there, I do look at it as a bit of a maybe short-term early reversal. How would you fully validate this one? Similar to the other ones, I need to see at minimum a closure above the last swing high. That's gonna be about 219. At that point, I do look for this one to trade back up at minimum towards 240, maybe even as high as about 256. And then, it looks like you got a bit of a pity bounce based off your prior lows. And I think that's probably what's going to happen here. It's a little more likely, but just like the last chart that we looked at, these are still in lower high fashions, and it's very unwise to be looking for reversals until that condition is reversed. So it's getting close, and a lot of them are showing, some decent signals there, but personally speaking, I would be waiting. Cool. All right, Boris Rusky said, nice name, man. You mentioned a long time ago that you invested in Pulse Chain. Are you gonna invest in Pulse? What? God damn it, man. He made a Pulse X now. Look, I can only invest in so many fucking questionable projects at once, man. I don't think it's a good sign. I don't think it's a good, like, maybe I just don't, or I certainly do not understand why you'd make multiples of those, but I don't know if that's necessarily like a good sign for me. But hey, I'm not a fundamental investor, so I'm not the best person to ask. I just like the fact that they were like donating to fucking some charity there. That's why I donated. That's why I basically sacrificed to that one, man. Just figured why the fuck not, man. So all good, man. Anyways, no, I don't have any plans to do that, nor do I have any idea what it is. But I don't know. Maybe if it's gonna be the next, if it's gonna be the next Hex, I'm in, baby. I'm in. Just show me where to sign up. Yep. Echoes the end is next. He says, let he who hath not traded shitcoin cast the first stone, for the simps of the chat shall inherit the earth. Bear Jesus, tithing the super chat to less fortunate. My fucking man. All right, so you want to look at just any old request here. Let's see. Well, we just did Cardano there.
Did you do that's up the other request from you?
Oh yeah, let me hit that one. RBLX. Okay, you got it. RBLX USD. There is. It's not there. What? That's Oh, it's a stock. I should have known that. You've asked about this one before. I should have known that. Okay, so we're getting the bounce off the area, I'm guessing, on the daily that we spoke about from before. Yeah, right around here is fine. Probably does open up on a little bit of a continuation of that bounce and fills the gap at about 106.5, maybe as much as 109.5. I would not call this one a reversal here just yet, although there are some actual good things going on here for what it's worth. Until you do close a daily back up about 109.5, that would actually look pretty damn good for playing back up to your prior range highs. Until then, yeah, I made this on a weekly right here. Probably going to bounce to open up this week, and then we come back to it after that. I'd really only get bearish on this one if you close below basically Friday's low, and then look for, well, gap fill in the other direction. In this case, about $85. Until then, I probably look for this one, try a little bit higher to open up today and fulfill that like 106, 107 gap or so before anything else, and then come back to it. But hopefully that was helpful on that one. My little cousin stole my credit card to buy in-game Roblox merch. Oh, dear Lord. Bullish on the company convincing children to lie, cheat, steal. Yeah, man. I mean, it's no secret that those companies are like massively successful. And I don't know anything about Roblox, but I've heard the name. It's like some sort of a game thingy. Anyways, you wanted to just pick out any old person right there and address a comment. All right, well, I think a lot of these we've already seen. I see AJ, he's calling out Solana. No one's asked about Solana today. We can definitely go to that one. 175.5, it looks like. Still playing in the same range as before. Still the same resolution required as before. Back above on a daily closing basis, 195 or actually 196. At that point, I would be looking for a short-term drive towards 105 to 106 region, and then probably does play back up to your prior range highs over time. But for right now, this one is putting in a bit of a short-term high, it looks like. And I imagine, yeah, it's probably going to play back down towards the lows. Now, there is one piece of hoping right here. If you do reverse exactly from its current point, meaning that you don't see any closures below 173.5 on a 4-hour or even a bi-hourly, then you will have a higher low and hidden bullish divergence, and very likely does set it up for an actual range resolution above that 195 number, initiating the next 10 to like whatever $15 move to the upside short term. Until then, though, any sort of a closure below here, bearish divergence, very likely comes back down to 160-ish region and tries for another low right there. I would still kind of refrain from getting super bearish on this one. I think at worst you're kind of doing something like this where it comes back down here, trade sideways for a while. Something like that is probably what I'd be looking for, to be honest with you. But hey, 195, very critical still. All right, we got Tyler Reich. Yeah, FTM. Okay, FTM USD. My voice is starting to feel it now too. Short term, very likely going to test back down around that 1.25 region. I would still not call a breakdown as long as you're closing above there, but short term, yeah, 4 hours kind of weak here too. Probably, yeah, likely testing around range lows. Hoping is that you bounce there again or give it just an ever so slightly higher low and then pop back above the critical region of the upside, the same one as last week, 156. Initiative moves back up towards 1.75 after that. That'll start to look a lot better, but for right now, man, this one is corrective at best for a while, sir. Corrective at best for a while, I imagine. We can do Barthrom Pritham. Hopefully I'm saying that properly. Rose USD. All right, we can do that one really quickly. Rose USD. All right. Binance. Same thing as before, man. I do think that this one's still kind of similar to the last one. Going to play back down to your range lows and then probably bounces there again. I don't think you're going to actually break below about 23 cents just yet. However, below 23 cents, I look for one more move towards, what is this, 19 or 20? Somewhere around there. I don't necessarily think that's what's happening. I think this solar line probably ends up being right, given a few more bounce off that region, then trying some upside. But it's going to take some time, man. You're going to see volatility very likely come down to single digits before this one sets in like a major low. But for now, still holds that region. Big problems below, again, 23 cents. That's where this one really starts to fall apart. But until then, probably going to even another bounce after another test of your range lows there. J3F says, do not be afraid, Mithrandir, you are not alone. Hey, I know who that is. That's Gandalf, man. And you're right. I'm not alone right now. We got the whole fucking community here right now. Let's see. Backs off says, near protocol. Yeah, we can do this one really quick as well. We only got a couple more. Haven't done them all, but there's just like literally one or two more, so I might as well just hit them. Close enough here. Near. Again, very similar to the other ones. I do think that you are ranging at best for a while. You're going to see volatility very likely come down to at minimum 25 percentile. But yeah, you got the same. Okay, so I think I charted this one for a lower term time frame right here. I would actually still be using this area if you're on like a 4 hour, but I imagine, well, no, you did not specify what time frame you're on. If you're on a daily, you're just looking at a big range like this, man. Short term time frame is like a 4 hour. Hey, why is this one looking all weird? Okay, this one is looking all sorts of weird right here. I do think that you test a little bit short-term downside, but again, it's just a range at best right here. Big problems below 720. Until then, looking for a little bit of short-term downside, but overall just kind of filling out this space. Something like this, man. Something like that would be the good resolution. You're probably going to see this come down significantly. That's what I'm looking for in order to get excited about something like that. Until that happens, I think sideways at best for a while. Cake BTC says crypto phrenic. Sure. Okay. I wonder if did this one make a move over the weekend? I forget. Yeah, hanging on the lows here still. So not great. Okay, what did I have this marked off? So for whatever was this your current lows of this current range. Okay. Don't know if that's relevant to you. I don't think that you included a time frame, but I think the real question on something like this, after getting absolutely just shreked, is where does this one reverse? Where does this one actually good again? And that would be back above 1468. At that point, I'd be looking for big moves up towards 17.5, maybe as much as $20 or so. Until then, short term, while it is still holding your range lows, forgive me if I don't think that this looks too strong. Technically speaking, I should be waiting for a closure below 1195, and then yes, I would be looking for another retest of your 11 and some odd change lows. Probably another bounce there, to be fair. If Bitcoin loses its current range lows, this thing's going to come back down to its December 4th lows most likely. So until then, bit of sideways there. Hopium is that your 4-hour short-term range holds, and for what it's worth right now, it still is. So should be respectful of that. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion on that one. DIA USD. Okay, DIA USD. All right. Ugly as fuck. Already at its lows, man. Again, if Bitcoin shows any weakness here, this thing's going to come back down to like $1, back towards its July lows. It does not look good. I'd call a reversal on this thing short term back above 131.5, but you did not include timeframes. There's no daily reversal on this thing to even be speaking about or thinking about as long as you're below 165. Echo Zien says BAT versus Ethereum. Okay. I didn't consider this pair, but well, it's not looking too good in the short term. No, okay. On a daily, weekly. So you're on higher term timeframes here. Short term, yeah, very likely does come back down to 2720 or so. But anything within this range right here is probably going to be long term. Well, long term it just trends to the downside. So probably not good, to be quite honest with you. Probably not going to be very good long term. But I would be looking for this range to play out for a while. Yeah, not going to be a fan of a chart that looks like that ever. Just lower high after lower high. All the way down, baby, all the way down, but probably bounce off that level again. Can't be bullish on anything that looks like this as long as you're below 3,900 butyrols in this case. Okay, we got that. I think we got everything, baby. Wow. That was a nice stream, man. For whatever reason, my voice today not holding up too well, but oh well, it'll be fine, man. It'll be fine. All right, cool. I think that is going to do it. I want to wish everyone well. It's been a nice and fun and pleasurable Monday. Be safe out there. Be very, very safe. Again, on Bitcoin over here, the big bad area to be aware of. The most aggressive would be 48,300. Personally speaking, I'd be waiting for 49,300. That's where I do look at this as a bit of a bear trap reversal. Until then, this is not strong price action right here. Probably going to test around those wick lows yet again. I'd be looking at CME to actually confirm a range resolution or not. But well, I'll just let the chips kind of fall where they may on this one, and perhaps I'll record a shorts video on it later. Again, hopium, or it's not necessarily hopium, but this is where things actually start to look good again, back above this region right here, CME, if you want to make it the most simplistic as possible. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank everyone for joining in. It's been a very pleasurable day. We got 1.2 thousand likes on this video. Insane. Oh, common sense. One last one for you, man. One last one for you, just because. Yes, because, man. All right, daily, weekly, monthly. I mean, he donated a shit ton earlier, so should probably do it. Daily, weekly, monthly on NAS. I still think this one's bouncing here, man. I don't have a problem with this one. I mean, it bounced at the level that we were looking for last. I remember we looked at this one last week, or was it the week prior to that? Whatever it was. I mean, this is still working right here. I just want to see it get back above about 42.5. That's where this one starts to look a lot better. But for right now, range on the lows is fine. So just another higher low. I just think you're going to be probably oscillating there for a little bit of time. Hidden bullish evidence on the daily right there. I just want to see it back above 42.5, and I look for this one to trade back up towards upper like 47.5 to $50 region, and probably sets it up for like a good Q1 2022. Obviously very bad below 36, but Fair enough, man. That's going to do it for today, fellas. I'll be signing off now. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, find it, drop it, crack it, lose it, curse it, pay it, to it, pay it, bar it, chart it, hide it, fight it, deal it, seal it, and unlock it, back it, send it, change it, lend it, mine it, find it, how it, test it, praise it, curse it, trash it, hash it, scroll it, troll it, and upgrade it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it,